Yeah, so back what we was saying, right, bro, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, did your parents have like a positive or negative experience with the police?
My mom did. My old man, he always had a little trouble with police. But I was around my moms a lot. My oldest brother was around both of them. You hear me?
Right.
But if I had to choose who I wanted to be around, wishing I had my father was good. It just I just was just trying to protect my mom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At an early age. Not just saying I can do the things I want to do around my moms. I couldn't. I was kind of shy going around my father peoples and all that. Wishing anybody I was going around, I was like shy. You hear me?
Uh-huh.
I wasn't really eating in a lot of people's cribs, none of that. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
wasn't doing none of that. So when I go to my grandparents' crib, rest in peace my grandmama and my granddaddy and my old man. When I go over there and my grandmama know I'm not quiet, she like, I heard everything about you. You worse than Anthony. That's my oldest brother name.
Right.
And I don't know what you're talking about. But she already knew I was bad, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I just wasn't bad around her. And then my grandmama, she had like India in her family, you hear me? On the other side of her family. So
Indian?
she wasn't, not saying she wasn't black, but my grandfather was super, super black. And
She was mixed with a little something.
she was mixed with a lot of things, you hear me?
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that was my grandma.
when when you was arrested, what did the police accuse you of?
You talking about for this case?
Yeah.
For a murder?
For
For a
murder?
murder. For a first degree murder.
How did they treat you during interrogation?
Real bad. I went through an experience getting beaten by the police for hours, like damn near like 30 something. You know, I experienced getting whooped because I didn't really know what was going on, and they was trying to basically beat the confession out of me, and something I ain't really know what was going on because this ain't my case. I ain't had nothing to do with this case. I don't even know the victim on this case. You know,
So was that
so
was there any witnesses? And what did they say?
witness had different stories, basically saying they ain't see nothing, they ain't know nothing. About 6 or 7 times the witness said she ain't see nothing, she ain't know nothing. You
How
know
many
what I'm saying?
witnesses they
Then
had?
really two. You know, they had a lot of people they questioned, and the ones they waved off they really want to use, they waved them off, but they still had statements. So I'm just gonna say we had I had like 5 people saying something, and 3 people they disbarred. They didn't really want to talk to them no more. But
So
they went off their statements. You know what I'm saying?
these the
No,
witnesses. These the witnesses like outside when this happened, or
no, I can't really say that they was outside. I say they was one witness was a brother. He was around the area when the moms called him. When his moms called him and said, somebody just got shot in front of our house. She don't know who it is. But at the end of the day, you know, she said it was me. You hear me? She
right?
said she seen me out the window shooting this victim, wishing I didn't even know the victim. And she called on the 911 call, basically saying some man just got shot in front of her house. They asked her, the 911 call asked her. The 911 operator asked her, you know, who is the person who got shot, basically, you hear me? She
Right.
said, I don't know, you hear me? But before she said that, they asked her who, she ain't know, she really didn't, understand. Basically, she was kind of scared during that time. So she was speedballing. She asked him, "Can I had a fire apartment at our house at 903 East 84th Street?"
Right.
Then she turned around and said, "Can she have the ambulance at 903 East 84th Street?" That's when then the phone hanged up. They stopped 609 back. And basically, that's when she said, "Can I have the police at 903 East 84th Street?" They said, "Yeah, we just got a call there. What happened?" Said, "This young man just got shot in front of my house. Do you know who is he inside or he outside?" She said, "He outside." They said, "Do you know him?" They said, "I don't know." She said, I don't know. But
Right.
you're supposed to know who this victim is because you're coming to pick up your daughter from your house. So you're supposed to know who that person is. But she was scared. So all these shots going off in front of her house. And so she panicked. She basically said she ain't know nobody, basically. You hear me? No. And you got her daughter in the interest trying to get back in the house. So she knocking on the door. So you telling me you was in the window, watching the window, your daughter in the interest, banging on the door, trying to get in the house. And her youngest son came and opened up the door for her daughter and let her daughter in. But her daughter was beating on the door for like a good 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, banging, trying to get in the house. Because she was scared. She was in the interest. You know? And by this being my kid moms, you know what I'm saying? This my youngest kid's moms. You know, she was scared. This is her friend. She was dating her friend. And her friend got killed in front of her mama's house by coming to pick her up. You know what I'm saying? And it could have been her, bro. She could have got killed out there because of all these shots going off. She left something in the house, so
you
she
feel
had
like
to go back.
you feel like they was telling the truth, false with their story to the police, or you feel like?
Yeah, they was telling the truth about saying they ain't know nothing, they ain't see nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Then the police coercing them and showing them my pictures and all that, and showing them the victim pictures and stuff. People's got to understand, far as like in the world.
Yeah, I want to ask that too. My
Hey,
fault to cut you
Brian,
off.
you dropped 2 things. You say what?
I want to ask, how do you know the witnesses?
The witnesses are my kid moms and her moms. They used them in my case, basically saying mama's the key witness on the case. Daughter really is the alibi, one like the alibi witness, but they basically was trying to force them to say it was me. You hear me?
Right.
You know, and they forced the mama saying she seen me out the window. I mean, she was looking out the window when all the shots took off, and she seen me running from the incident. But at the end of the day, she never did see that. It's 20-some shots going off in front of your house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's impossible for you can be looking out a window and you got 2 twin girls and a youngest son, and my son is in the house. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's impossible for you can be looking out the window and not trying to get these kids and pick them up and try to find a little safe spot for them, for they won't get hurt. You know
this basically something like family right here.
Yeah, you talking about the victim family who got killed?
No, like your witnesses, the witnesses on your case.
Yeah, they like family, you know. Yeah, I got a son by her, you know, and that's his grandmama. So yeah, they family.
So how you think you being incarcerated affected your family?
Oh man, it really hurt. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it really hurt them too because you know they had to find out something like experience as far as like one of your loved ones is on your case. That's a hurt feeling. You hear me? From anybody's family member. You know, and, so it's just like kids being traumatized of this. You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
All of a mistake. You know what I'm saying? It was a mistake they made saying saying they seen me do anything because they made a mistake. You know, they know I ain't had shit to do with this case. You know what I'm saying?
So
It's
what?
just the police scared them to say it was me. You understand what I'm saying? And they still under pressure about that. You understand? You know,
So what?
I just
So what has it been like for you being incarcerated all these years?
it's been tough, bro. You know what I mean? It been deadly tough. You know, the trauma I had to experience in going through prison and being wrongful convicted of a case you didn't have a fucking clue about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was learning the case like everybody else was learning the case. I understanding about the case or whatever the case might be. You know, you got the streets talk. You hear me? People talk. I just try to focus on what's in front of me. You know what I'm saying? I don't go off no rumors and what people saying and all that because if I go off that, you know, you basically just trying to, that's basically like hearsay to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, but a lot of things is true. You know what I'm saying? As far as people's finding out the really truth what happened, and they trying to tell it to me, and I'm trying to tell them to tell it to somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tell it to somebody else gonna make real sense to them because when you catch cases like this, you know, the system don't trust you. The system don't believe you. You know what I'm saying? You know, your word don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying?
How many?
So it's just like,
How many? You got kids? How many kids you got? If you got some.
kids. I have 6 kids. You know, and a bunch of step kids. I done lost like 3 step kids while I was in prison.
Can you
So,
can you describe like what is like being an incarcerated father? Like what it's like?
it's tough, you know, because you know you get bonds with your kids and communicating with them and making sure
1 minute remaining.
they don't be in the same, you know, be in the same position like I'm in. I don't want this for them. I don't want that for them. I want them to, you know, try to learn from my experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because this can happen to anybody. You can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, and you can care for a lot of people at the wrong time, and this can happen. You know, and I don't wish this on my worst enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
Hoping in days.
What have you?
We're gonna have to finish this conversation because
you gotta go.
This phone for the call in 20 minutes. I mean, I got 20 minutes on the phone. I'm gonna try to call you back in like 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, cool, bro.
You wanted to say something before the phone hang up?
Yeah. What have you discovered like on the police, like on your case? Like what have you discovered like on the police officer?
Police misconduct. A lot of police misconduct.